praising the false gods without even realizing it.
Well, I do feel a little bit excited. It's my birthday today. I turned 39 years young. I don't get it. All the people that I hang out with and in society, I guess, are so obsessed with age, but I don't care. Anyway, I have just been celebrated by my kids and husband. We have been out eating good at restaurant and, drinking some beers, etc. So I feel pretty fine.
Beside you in our home, but I couldn't exist with you by my side. Oh no.
But what was the B-side era really about? Well, for me it was about celebrating the previous versions of myself that struggled a lot to finishing things, that has taken on the generic advice to make lists, to follow, the concepts of time blocking, planning, and feeling like it has been a constant struggle. And so the B-side had some different elements to it, what it actually meant and still mean to me, to finish the songs, not to focus on the importance of being done for the sake of producing, but rather to remember that everything is just a current season. Everything that we are currently being, the truth is that what we are is infinite and undescribable. There is no word to contain our divine existence, but what we experience ourselves to be is just temporary and depending on the season. And the B-side was like an anthem to that, to recognize the girl that struggled but still kept going, even if she bounced back many times. The next layer to it was to strengthen my confidence and self-trust, rather, to learn to finish projects in order to move on to the next level, to the next ascending phase. I don't know. I still feel love for the B-side album and the era it represents. I also made a statement that the B-side were the bridge, or the bridge from the cracks of questioning the A-side lane, questioning the matrix, questioning the so-called reality, and both recognizing and acknowledge humans' infinite, incredible power, but yet how we stay pretty dumb. We are inventing new systems, new things, incredible things, but still we feel worse than ever, etc. And the B-side was like a symbol of questioning the reality that we have inherited and just have swallowed and accepted. So yeah, I mean, this whole season from Christmas till now, this has in a way been hanging over me. I made the announcement about the East Side area to release 12 songs. 12 is my magic number. More on that another time. For 12 weeks, I released 3. I also announced on TikTok and social media that I will post at least one kind of post for a minimum of 100 days. But I do feel like when things are challenging us, we can find different paths through it. So my plan is to proceed with 100 days of posting on social media, not so much because I believe in the magic of executing the challenge, but the magic of building that self-trust and recognize that, yeah, sometimes we bounce off the things that we decided and announced that we would do, but there is always a way through. So for that reason, I will maybe go back to the TikTok and Instagram to see how many posts or how many days that I have posted, in a way to recognize the work that I have done. So let's say that I've posted, 30 days worth of content. Then I have 70 posts left. And it's not so much about the algorithm or the discovery, even if that's bonus effects. It's about me showing up for myself. And regarding the B-side album, it will be released, but I will just find another path towards it. And also I will kind of find the directions that I have never been able to abandon, the directions that is the opposite of focus on one thing, don't spreading yourself too thin. And I actually feel that I have come up with a system that will help me with that, I think. Yeah.
Coffee pours morning breath when the light don't borrow hands. Nothing asks me.
Well, I just
who I
had
am.
a person reaching out to me asking if the B-side is dead or what is going on. And first of all, just let me express my gratitude for that one person, for someone to actually care enough about my music and the journey behind it. So thank you to you. And no, honestly, the B-side idea is not dead. It still lives within me. I have not buried it. I just letting it rest for the time being, and letting my current visions for this season to come to life and become more clear to me before I announce it to anyone else. Okay, I've learned my lesson. Don't announce things. Keep your word. Keep your word. So don't announce things if you're not going to keep it.
Sometimes staying real is just staying on. Holding on to verse.
So I said 12 songs and 3 came out. And I am following that direction, trying to grab the blessing in disguise, seeing what that means to me. And we can start with the number 12. A couple of years ago, maybe 1 year ago even, I just received this magic number, 12. It made sense in a way, since I don't believe in all the conceptual frameworks like time and money and how all of that is pretty much controlling our life experience. But I've also had this approach to those conceptual ideas, how to leveraging them so that I can function in this reality, and yet having a connection with my inner source and my inner guidance. And the number 12, it felt like, yeah, there's 12 months in a year, and a year is just a season, a cycle, and everything in this physical dimension operates through the law of rhythm. And 1 year includes the 4 seasons, and each month kind of represented a chapter, and I started to view a year as a book in the Bible that we eventually call our life. So it made sense to me to start to apply that framework, if you will, in order to make sense of this journey and living it to the fullest, especially when the generic approach to this life experience and the collective approach is through the concepts of time and money. So 12 has come to be like a compass in my outer reality, born from the wisdom within. And then we have the 3 songs that came out, and I think it's so easy to focusing too much on the how, on the steps, in the planning. And there is where I tend to often go lost, where the excitement eventually is trapped within the plan. And like the famous saying by Steve Jobs, that we cannot connect the dots in looking ahead. We can only connect them looking backwards. And I think that is what I start to see here, that the 3 songs that came out was not wasted. They are dots that are leading me somewhere that I cannot necessarily connect, and that the path ahead is unfolding, and that planning is a framework that we can apply, but we shouldn't get lost in the plan. And I do think that the 3 songs represents the dots, the vision unfolding. So, yeah. And I think that is the core message here, to look for the blessing always and in everything.
I can pretend this game no more. Please let me out.
So I guess that the goal for this season is to find the goal. And I already feel like the goal for the season to come will be related to finish the B-side album, due to all of the effects it will have to me to build that self-trust, rebuild that self-trust, and shifting old paradigms. And the vision that I see for the next season, I guess, is that I will find a system that allows me to finish, let's say, 1 song per week, and in additional to that, reward myself that week. And the reward will be to create new music. And I heard this somewhere that the igniting force of starting is actually the easiest part. The hard part is taking that fuel of endless possibility and turning it into a finished product, a finished piece of art. So that is like one idea that I have, like a framework to apply. And also, when I announced that I will release 1 song per week, it had different layers to it. One of the layers was to hold myself accountable. And the purpose of 1 song released per week was to not getting stuck in the overthinking loop and remembering that these are just the first version. So just finish them and release them out to the world. But this time, I think that I will do like the 12-week approach, having 9 weeks left if I will use that frame, that time period to execute on finishing them. And that will be something that I actually do behind the scenes. So not until all the songs are ready for release, there is where I will re-announce that I will release 1 song per week. And I feel a little bit more excited when I have that structure now, at least in my mind, in place. But for this season of the journey, I mean, it's vacation, it's summer. I think it will be about finding like a little light approach to make music during the holiday. And I will probably apply the method that it's built around the number 12 again, where the focus is to execute, to create within the framework of 12. 12 try, 12 chances to make 12 songs for 1 album. But also another approach additional to that will be my digital nomad creator philosophy, which is a philosophy that I love, where I do, like probably anyone, like great gears and tools in order to make good art. But also it's so important to me to feel freedom, and by recognizing that we can always create with what we got in this specific moment. So I will kind of playfully play around with the theme for the album, the visual theme, if you will, the theme that will be shown from the outside, but also the inside theme, the framework that I will apply for that holiday album, summer album maybe.
Wasn't that a way to get me over? Wasn't that a way to get me there? Wasn't that a way to
So I got this question, isn't it hard to start something new before, old things are resolved? And I was like, no. For me, it's quite the opposite. And of course, it's due to the ADHD equipment of this brain of mine. But I've also, because that's very common, it's when you actually start, that is when you feel, the best. The hard thing is to actually finish. And when I was creating my very first album as an independent artist, I really understood that I needed deadlines because the finishing part was, it was so heavy on me. And I've also heard that for many creators, which I do think that we all are, but that really has always had that space for themselves in their life on a regular basis. And what I've learned is that for us who function more like that, is the easiest part is to start. And another reason why it is hard to finish is because due to the ego's projections and need to tell us that it's not good enough, and the fear of, okay, this is my take on it. I know, at least this is my firm belief, that we are capable to do, anything. And when we have those ideas just in our mind, we, in a way, still have that connection to its potential. Until it is finished, we can still unconsciously recognize its infinite potential. And as soon as we move closer to our ego's demand and power of the experience, that is when we feel this fear that this is not as good as it could get. And I mentioned this in previous videos, that's the very reason that I developed this approach that I called release inversions, as a permission slip to, first of all, recognize the infinite versions already resides within ourselves that are not restricted to words or descriptions, and that we can always discover them, evolve them, and express them. And the other thing is our ego, mind, identity loves to keep us stuck. And so for me, the very long answer to that question is it's not hard. It's easy in a way to start something new, but the hard part is actually how this habit, this developed program in my mind strengthens the illusion, the self-imposed identity that I don't finish things, that I don't finish tasks. So that would say is my perspective of the hard part.
Start to think that we could be soulmates, but now I wonder, was it all last night? That attraction that spread so
I'm finally home from Stockholm after vacation there, weekend with my girls, a lot of party, and this is the last week of my holiday. I have been off for 5 weeks when this week ends. And I'm actually really looking forward to go back to some old supportive habits and create some new success habits. And I'm actually really looking forward to eating healthier again. I do want to invest in my body, in my body-mind vehicle, but in my body regarding, the artist body, if you will. But I want to feel strong and feel like I, feel proud on stage, etc. And also my liver will thank me, or kidney, liver, or both will thank me. What was that? For going back to drinking other beverage than alcohol. So, and to the question that I tried to reply earlier regarding if it wasn't hard to leave things unresolved before starting something new, I recognize my own pattern, and recognizing that pattern, that I have a tendency, or rather I have programs built creating this tendency, but it's also depending on how my brain functions. When I need dopamine, and starting new things is where my dopamine rushes. Probably because starting new also open some of the portals to the infinite, the divine source of everything, recognizing the endless beauty, the endless possibilities, often suffocated in this physical dimension and the collective reality perspective. And yes, to be honest, this could be an additional step and strengthen my ego's identity of the self and image, struggling with finishing things. But also, I feel like this season that I'm currently in, I also feel the importance of following my flow. And when I say that, I'm not saying that I will sit and wait for flow or inspiration, but if I were to finish the B-side album as planned, for me it feels like it would be more forcing than tapping in to the joy of creating music. And with that being said, yes, I know and understand the importance, if you will, of demanding yourself. But I also want to leave room for the creativity and creative freedom. But with that being said, I still have some, I don't want to call them rules, but I call them frameworks and systems that I will apply in order to get to that step to finishing the B-side album, to honor the previous version of myself, but also to start to dissolve that old limiting belief and old data in my subconscious. But also, I also know this. I think this is very common when you are starting on a journey and you are consistent and etc. That is what compounds, and you start to build, I don't like to say new identity, but you start to build self-trust, etc. regarding this path. But when you take a pause, it's so much harder getting back up on the horse back again than it was to eventually just start it in the first place. And that I know, and I think therefore I want to create spaces where I can leave the portals open for creativity and joy and flow, etc. Because I also know that that will lead me much quicker to the point where I actually can feel the value of finishing B-sides, not just knowing it intellectually, but also feeling it. Maybe very, should we say, spiritual or not spiritual, or fluff. A lot of fluff maybe in this video, but yeah, that is how it is sometimes. And yeah.
You didn't come home last night, and here I am stuck, chain smoking on the couch. Another explanation, you fill my cloudy mind with doubts. We've come to
So what I'm really committing to this season, and when I say season, I'm thinking around 12 weeks maximum, is to... I have some ideas, as always. Sorry. I have some ideas for albums that I want to create. One that the working title is The Artist Way. And some other album ideas. And I will not go in to what my different angles for those albums will be in this little session, because it's a lot, because I want to tell you all about the ideas for the album, the ideas for the systems that I'm going to apply, meaning different frameworks. I want to play a lot with different frameworks to create different albums, etc. All of the albums will be 12 songs because 12 is my magic number. But one thing that I can tell you is for this 12 weeks, I feel like my commitment will be to finish one of these ideation at this stage albums. And that I had that goal as well with the B-sides. But with the B-sides, the songs are already finished. It's just a matter of me actually producing them and releasing them. But that's the point that I'm trying to get to here. For this season, and for maybe we should say one album that I will finish this seasons, it's about separating the different versions of me, the different roles, the different hats that I apply when I create music, because I tend to mix them a lot. So for the finishing part, I will put on my hat as the singer-songwriter, meaning that I will not focusing on ad-libs or, adding harmonies to the vocals. I will focusing on the entire song. The verse, the pre-chorus, the chorus, the verse, the framework for a song. So to actually finish 12 songs as the singer-songwriter, meaning to have it all, have the demo recorded, because I have thousands of demos with verse 1 and the chorus. Often the things missing out is verse 2 and the pre-chorus. And I have, hundreds and hundreds of those songs. I have a lot of voice memos. I have a lot of lyrics in the similar, shops, nothing finished. So I think that will be my commitment for this season of 12 weeks, to differentiate the producer and the singer-songwriter. And for the singer-songwriter, the goal for the entire season is to finish the songs as demos, also known as version 1. Version 2 will be the released material. And also version 2 is my permission slip, where I set the deadlines for the album release. And I've researched so much, invested in so much to learn different ways to promote music. And for me, and as always, it has to align in some way. And if this actually would get finished, the 12 songs for this season's, the 12 new songs, it would mean so much to me, because I think that not only would it help me to strengthen my capability to demand my mind vehicle, but it will also dissolve the old illusions, the old programming of, oh, here we go again. This is how I always do it. And therefore, I think it's very important for me to focus on the finishing cycles for each step. So the finishing cycles for step 1 may be the theme for the album, the framework or frameworks, the systems that I will apply to write the different songs, and maybe a deadline for that, of course. And the next step in that will be producing and also improve my producing skill, because I have invested a lot this summer in learning new skills, improve the skills, but more importantly, learn new skills in how to actually produce my songs. And I will say, I really want this second album of mine to be the next level of my producing ability. But I will also say that with compassion for myself, knowing that it will probably be far from where I want to go with my producing skills. But it would really mean so much to me to follow the steps. And this time I feel like, since I have divided the steps or outlined the different steps, having different roles, having different focuses, that I think that will really put my philosophy and systems to the test. But I also really feel, I really have both the intention but also feel that I would probably could learn to trust this process, those systems, in order to support me to create my music and release that and share that with you. So if you are someone who recognizes yourself in anything in what has been covered and not covered in this video, maybe you feel like you have a lot of unfinished business, that you have many creative ideas. Maybe you're someone, regardless of age. Next year I turn 40. Maybe you are 35 and feel like it's too late for your dreams, whatever that is. It doesn't have to be music. Maybe you're 20 and think it's too late. I want this space to be where, if you feel invested in this journey to be inspired by, but also invested in yourself, to join me on Substack and subscribe to me there, where I show so much more behind the scenes, really unfiltered. I'm always authentic, and authentic doesn't mean identify an identity and stick with it at all costs. It's about sharing from a place of alignment in that very specific moment. And sometimes I'm like, I'm crazy, I'm super excited, and I share things like that. But sometimes, I have my struggles and challenges. Anyway, if you're into authentic, naked material, subscribe to me on Substack and follow along. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you are just someone like me who feel like music is your language, that listening to other artists, okay. So what I was about to say, if you're like me, feel like music is your language, that music sometimes is what brings you up when you're down, but also that you find your own voice in another song, pointing you, describing the exactly emotion you are experiencing, and finally you don't feel so alone. Or if you like to use music to break free from the cultural norms and the matrix and the inherited belief systems and all the illusions that we have come to call the reality, then I would love for you to join me. Subscribe to Substack and subscribe to the channel. And please leave me a comment. Tell me about yourself and your journey. We all walk journeys, and different journeys in this one journey we call life.
I give away on I give away on I give away covered in shame. Used to seek for medicine, will I find a cure? To why I can proceed and then naked on the floor. I was caught in a web I could never understand, could never perform under those commands. I was torn between madness and tried to keep up, but the voices in my head